Welcome to Amazing Horse Country.
And thank you for tuning in to the Amazing Horse Country podcast. I'm Scott Phillips. In this episode, I wanted to let you know a little bit about Amazing Horse Country. We're a horse and people training facility that's located in central Alberta in Canada. Our summers are packed with back-to-back clinics that feature obstacle courses, trail riding, liberty work, and horsemanship clinics where we can work on whatever your heart desires. Our clinics are open to all riders and all horses, regardless of discipline, age, or experience. We'd love to have you in person at a clinic, and you can check out the available spots at AmazingHorseCountry.com. This year is booking up like no other, so if you're interested in a clinic here, now would be a great time to reserve a spot since we're now booking into September and October. But I think there's still a few spots left in August, so hopefully you can make it out. We'd love to meet you. But this podcast reaches people all over the world, and traveling to a clinic here might not be feasible, so we've got other options for you. I also teach one-on-one online private sessions. We use Zoom for these and record the sessions so that you can refer back to them and watch them whenever you'd like. On Wednesdays, we generally conduct webinars on a variety of topics, and those topics come from you, our honored listeners and clients. So feel free to comment on this podcast about what topics you'd like in a webinar or even a future podcast. We have tons of demonstration video in our webinars too, and again, those are available on the website after they're recorded. Head on over to AmazingHorseCountry.com and check those out. And we'd love it if you check out our monthly membership program. For as little as $5 a month, you can help support this podcast. We've just ordered new microphones and are getting some voice actors in the program, so even $5 a month helps. I know it's not much, but it goes a long way. And you get lots of stuff too. In any of our membership programs, you have access to a private member forum where you can chat in topics or create topics of your own. Membership includes access to our video library, and you can also share your horse stories and photos. Who knows? We might just use your story in a podcast, with you in it. Our monthly membership programs also include Amazing Horse Country merchandise, like mugs, t-shirts, and stickers, and water bottles, because we want to thank you for helping us out. The more advanced membership levels include access to our webinars and even one-on-one sessions with me. Please consider helping us out at AmazingHorseCountry.com/membership. You can even send in a one-time donation. Again, this revenue helps us produce these fun and informative podcasts. And we'd sure like you to be a part of Amazing Horse Country. So let's get on with the podcast already, right? Okay, I heard ya. Here it goes. Chip is one of my horses. He's a 10-year-old gelding. He'll be featured in the next podcast, where we come face to face with, you guessed it, a werewolf. It's going to be a fun one, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We're lining up a couple of voice actors for that episode, so it's our first venture into a little more production than usual. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. That podcast was supposed to be out on Thursday, but we want to put the effort into making it a great listening experience for you, so it's going to take a bit longer. But let's get back to Chip. He's been with me since he was born. I first met him when he was 4 hours old, and his mother is Belle, who is one of my mares. Chip is an exceptionally engaging horse, and he's totally into goofiness. And you know what? There's been lots of research on pets becoming like their owners, and I have to admit that may just be the case. Chip has learned goofiness from me, and I love him for that. Chip is a horse that loves to interact with people, horses, and his environment. And also, practically anything that he can get his mouth on. He loves to reshape, relocate, redistribute, rearrange, or plain out destroy anything he can get into. So we've learned to not leave things lying around. Although that may not seem like what you'd want around the farm or from a horse, I actually encourage him. From my perspective, it's an incredible asset as it helps develop two things we seek in a horse. One being curiosity and the other being try. Although he can be a goof, when Chip is under saddle, he has a strong work ethic. That is, he is completely able to follow my lead without fear or anxiety. And he's a really nice ride. In fact, Chip is one of the smoothest horses I've ever ridden. Much of that is due to a lack of brace and tension. He's simply just not worried. That freedom from instinctive fear behaviors has developed in part due to our interactions, and clearly some outright silliness. He's not afraid to be expressive, and he's grown up in a world where he knows he can trust and depend on humans versus being controlled and manipulated by them. He understands that we have two-way communication. Let's talk a minute about balances here. Everything in life involves balances. Warm water is a balance between hot and cold. Sometimes warm is required, but we still need hot for coffee in the morning, or cold, refreshing drink at the end of a hot day. We have left and right extremes in politics, but as a society, we live somewhere in the middle. Take a horse that loves obstacle competitions. That's work, but it's also play. Your riding falls in the middle too. Your horse might enjoy manipulating objects or riding over and through different obstacles. But it's also a judged competition that requires a solid performance. I've heard some folks say that if you have a working horse or a competition horse, your relationship can't exist outside of that. It's an unfortunate thought because what you do outside the work element may just be the thing you need to advance. Let me elaborate a bit on that. Chip and I have achieved a balance between work and play. Practicing a lead change might be all work, but it involves his body being athletic and his mind engaging and following. He needs to be free of worry and thus free of brace and tension, and those things are a product of our relationship. Sometimes we're in the middle. For example, on the obstacle course, which is part athletic work and part interactive fun for him. And yet again, we can be at the opposite from the work spectrum, simply chasing each other in the pasture or lying down together in the grass on a quiet evening. Intentional play can also develop pieces we need for work. Our leadership, the horse's followership, our mutual focus, energy, and confidence, the horse's try, and our praise. And when you get just as much out of it as your horse, well, that's just icing on the cake, isn't it? There is, however, a common thread that sews together everything we do, and that is our relationship. Let's dig into that for a few minutes. Horses are very relational creatures. So, what does relational mean anyway? We use it in the context of our style of horsemanship, relational horsemanship. If you look up the meaning of the word, you'll find many different definitions. Personally, I like to think of it as an interconnectedness, one that can occur on two levels. One level is when two people or two horses, or a person and a horse, share similar values. Those values include togetherness, comfort in the herd, safety and protection, and fun. In our riding, that extends to our leadership relationship, mutual confidence, mutual focus, and mutual pride in what we do. On a more somber note, both horses and people have very close associations with others of our kind, and feel a profound loss when we lose a friend. I saw that in my herd when we lost Spud back in January. I'm still struggling with that, and Spud's best friend in the herd even quit eating after he was gone because he got so depressed. So, we relate to loss in similar ways too. Horses exist in an intricate social context, just like us. The other level of interconnectedness is more natural, as in nature. We, like horses, relate to our environment. We have connections to living things. What natural relationships do we share with horses? Well, just off the top of my head, we both eat green things that grow. We both hate bugs that bite. We both enjoy shade on a hot day and shelter from the cold and wind. Neither one of us fancies an encounter with a mountain lion on a trail. And it's these levels of interconnection with each other and our environment that make us relational. And it's that relation, that interconnection, that really allows our riding to soar. The reason for that is that we share mutual understandings both inside and outside the work environment. This isn't any different than our own lives. We may develop a friendship with someone at a workplace that is above us in seniority. Maybe it's because we play on the same sports team, or go fishing together, or any number of activities. Our social relationship can translate into a more productive working relationship because we now know each other in a deeper context. When a human and horse have a relationship that extends beyond competing and training, it can be one of the most fulfilling experiences that life has to offer. It certainly has been for me. What I personally love about relations with horses is that they're incapable of judgment. They're incapable of being critical. They accept us for who we are, and likely know us better than we know ourselves. They are exceptionally empathetic and can be great moderators of our own emotional highs and lows. And in turn, we can be there for them when they are scared, when they're anxious, when they're hurt. We tend to each other in many ways. And Chip and I have a great, what would you call it, past year relationship. He is very engaging, and he knows exactly what to do to make me laugh, smile, or relax. And I can do the same for him. And we take that relationship into our riding. We really enjoy each other simply because we're doing it together. On one hand, that seems very natural. On the other, it's simply amazing.